So, I want to share with you today the thing that I think I found the most helpful when it comes to some of the obstacles that we come across when it comes to self growth and personal improvement and becoming more present and healing and all that kind of personal improvement kind of stuff. And that's this idea of moods and consciousness. Now, I was never trained that consciousness and mood were two separate things. I thought they were one and the same. In other words, I imagined that life was like a ladder and we would go up and down, and sometimes we'd feel great and we're feeling how we want to feel all the time. We have clarity and wisdom and creativity and good feelings and just well being. And of course, when we're up there, we have motivation and inspiration so we can kind of go and create the results we want to create in life. But then sometimes we're down here and we're feeling maybe worried and self-doubt, or we're feeling low and down, and there's just no motivation. And we're up and down all the time. We all know that, right? But it seemed to me that as much as I learned, I couldn't seem to control this as much as I would want to. Like, I did raise my baseline and I would have more and more times feeling good. But I also didn't seem to be able to control when I went down. I did find that, like, I would go down and I would spend less time feeling down. But what I discovered is that we have moods that go up and down, but we also have consciousness, presence, and that goes up and down as well. And that is independent of our moods. So let me say a little bit more, because I honestly find this incredibly helpful. So, given that our moods are created by our thinking, we are in a way a slave to what we're thinking. Like, we're not really a slave, and this is a metaphor, so that will break down at some point. But our moods are controlled by what we think. So if I'm thinking good things, I tend to be up here. If I'm thinking negative things, I tend to be down here. Now, we all know that we can't control what we think. That would require us to think our thoughts before we think them, which we can't do. So, in a way, I can't control what I think about life today. So if I'm thinking positive thoughts, great, but I don't really control what occurs to me to think. So if I'm thinking negative thoughts today, I say today, I mean right now, I can't control that. Now, what I can do is I can see that I'm thinking negatively right now because I have consciousness, presence, awareness. There is a gap, a space between my consciousness and what I think. So even when my mood is down here, my presence, my consciousness can be up here. Now, that doesn't tend to happen for a lot of us, because what happens is we get in a low mood and our level of consciousness and presence comes down because we start to make this mean something. If I'm in a low mood, I might make that mean that there's something wrong with me. I shouldn't be feeling like this. After everything I've learned, I'm still feeling shit, so I must be broken, or nothing works. Now, if I'm in a low mood and I start thinking that way, it brings my level of presence down with it. And then we've got low mood and low presence. But what can also happen is we can be in a low mood and have a high level of awareness about this. And as a metaphor, I remember one time touring a city and I went into this building, and the building looked really dark to me. And I thought it was very strange because I could barely see anything. And when I said to my wife, "Why is it so dark in here?" she looked at me and laughed, because I had my sunglasses on. And I didn't know that I had my sunglasses on. So I had a dark experience and I had a low level of awareness that I was looking through a lens. So we can be in a dark mood and forget that we're looking at things through a lens. When we forget, we've got no consciousness. If we know we're looking through a lens, if we know we're looking through sunglasses, there's an ease to it. There's space. So you can be in any mood: anxious, low, stressed, angry, self-doubt, and have a high level of presence that you're in that mood. And it's kind of like this. It would be like having negative thoughts about your partner, but knowing that you're just in a mood and remembering that you don't always think that way and feel it that way about your partner. If you can have that perspective and have that high level of presence, this mood will pass a hell of a lot quicker than if you come down to its level and make it mean something. Anxiety is a good one to explore. We can be really anxious and know that it's just temporary and know that it will pass. If we start to make it mean something, well, this means that I'm broken, this means that I'm wrong, this means that none of the stuff I'm trying is working, then that's a really scary way of thinking. So it kind of makes the anxiety into more of a monster than it already is. Anxiety in of itself is never a problem. We make it into one when we make it mean something about us or about life. So another way of thinking about this is that our consciousness is actually made to rise. We're actually designed in such a way that we are going to be naturally present. And also we have inherent well-being, peace, love and joy and wisdom inside of us. So all you need to do to feel that is to get out the way. And how do you get out the way? You get out the way with your thinking. You let it go. You don't have to accept how you're feeling in a passive way, but you acknowledging how you're feeling and what's going on for you in terms of your mood without judgment, without criticism, without adding anything to it, means that your natural well-being can come to the surface. It's like if you've ever put a beach ball under the water in a pool or in the beach and the sea, you have to try quite hard to push that beach ball under because it's so buoyant, it's made to rise. Our well-being, our clarity, our peace, our joy is made to rise. If you let it go, it will just rise. So one of the most helpful things I found to explore for myself is if that's true, if I am made to just feel good and I'm getting in the way of that, what is it I'm doing that's getting in the way? And the answer tends to be judging myself for feeling bad, criticizing myself, trying to fix it. When I just let that go and I just let those feelings pass through me, my mood does rise and I tend to feel good again really quite quickly. So if you can see that you've got moods and you've got consciousness and they are independent of each other, if you let the mood do its thing, it will pass and it will rise. You just need to not get in its way.